Every morning when we wake up, we drink our coffee and imagine that this stable and ordinary life, where we feel safe with our loved ones and make plans for the future, will last forever. However, when you turn on the news, you see borders tightening, global supply chains fracturing, and the word nuclear being placed on the table as a tool for diplomatic blackmail. In such a scenario, many of us think that rushing to the markets to buy toilet paper or looting canned goods will be enough to survive. Yet, in a true global collapse, when market shelves are empty and the money in your bank accounts turns into meaningless figures on a screen, the things that will ensure your survival and even keep you strong in the newly established world are unfortunately not canned goods. When the rules of the game change, the assets you must hold are as much digital and mental as they are physical. History shows us very clearly who remains standing in moments of crisis. Think of Germany in the 1930s or the Europe where World War II broke out. Those who relied on the massive mansions they inherited, their factories, and the millions of marks in their banks unfortunately lost most of their assets when borders closed and hyperinflation turned money into a worthless piece of paper. Do you know who were the ones that crossed the border, survived, and grew wealthy again wherever they went? They were the ones who sewed gold into the linings of their jackets, those who carried an irrepressible professional skill inside their heads, and those who possessed a network of people they could trust all over the world. Today, in a modern World War III scenario, which will take place not only in the trenches, but also in cyber networks, on satellites, and at economic tables, we need much more advanced versions of that gold in our grandfather's jacket linings. Here are those 6 assets we need. 1. Cross-border digital properties. Bitcoin in a cold wallet. In a moment of war, the first thing states will do is impose capital controls. Your bank accounts are frozen and transferring money abroad is prohibited. You cannot carry a $1 million house on your back. However, you can carry a 12-word seed phrase in your mind or on a small USB device across the border. This provides you with the opportunity to rebuild your wealth anywhere there is an internet connection. 2. Divisible physical values. Small denomination gold, silver. If the crisis spreads to the cyber realm, power grids collapse, and the internet is cut off, your digital assets will temporarily become inaccessible. That is the moment when physical gold and silver, the only real trust in the world for 5,000 years, come into play. However, it is more advantageous for you to hold them not as large bullion, but as small denomination units that can be easily traded for bread, medicine, or fuel. 3. Local production capacity. Land with water source and seeds. When global supply chains break, those pasta or flour packets in the market will no longer be there. Imagine owning a luxury residence in the center of the city. When the water and food supply to this residence is cut off, it will be no different from a concrete prison. Owning a piece of land where you can draw your own water and produce your own food, even on a small scale, will cease to be a luxury and become a fundamental necessity. 4. Inalienable human capital. Practical skills. In war, your diplomas or corporate titles hold no value. No one cares if you are a senior marketing manager. However, if you are a healthcare worker who can stitch a wound, an engineer who can set up water filtration systems, a technician who can repair solar panels, or someone who knows how to harvest from the earth, every society will need you. Knowledge is the only asset that the state cannot tax or take away, and that cannot be bombed. 5. Microtrust networks. An unshakable clan. Hollywood movies glorify the lone wolf who saves the world single-handedly. In reality, lone wolves die in the winter. In a moment of crisis, your greatest asset is a solid community of 5 to 10 people you can lean on, combine your skills with, and share your food and security. Your network is your net worth. 6. Mental flexibility. Psychological asset. Even if you lose everything, reaching the psychological resilience to start from zero is vital. The faster you accept that the old world is dead, the more quickly you can build your new world. The most critical point here is this. For years, we have been taught that ownership means a house deed or a bank passbook. However, nothing that a state can take from you with a single keystroke, a decree, or through inflation truly belongs to you. The real danger is not just the bombs that might fall on us, but the fact that our blind dependence on the system paralyzes us. Real wealth is the only thing that stays with you even when the system collapses. Freedom is not a convenience offered to you by the system. It is the result of the infrastructure you have built yourself. So, what can you do? Should you go dig a bunker underground and hoard canned goods? Of course not. Instead, you must build a mental model. Rather than running away from the crisis, you must establish a structure that will not shatter when the crisis hits. You must remove yourself from being a consumer dependent on the system and transition to the position of a self-sufficient producer. You must reshape your portfolio by investing not only in stocks that increase linearly in peacetime, but also in assets like land, skills, and portable value that will be useful to you in wartime. Every day, you should ask yourself this question: if the internet, banks, and markets close down tomorrow, can I build a life from scratch with the skills I have and the people by my side? You never know what will happen tomorrow or what map the great powers will draw on the table, but when that day comes, whether you will be the prey or the survivor is determined by the decisions you make today. If this gave you a new perspective, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. History speaks, those who listen win, say well.